welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about candlesticks. We're going to start with the very basics on what is a candlestick, and we're going to go to an advanced level on how to use candlesticks to improve our trading system. In this video, we're going to talk about why and how to use candlesticks, what story does candlesticks convey in the stock market, and why are candlesticks the best thing to use in the stock market. So this is going to be the first video in the playlist of technical analysis, and hope you guys enjoy the video. If you guys are excited for the video, smash the like button. Let's get started. All right, let's start with what are candlestick pattern. What are candlesticks, right? So candlesticks are basically something that describes price movement for a certain period of time. So that's the formal definition. But let's try to understand that more. So I mentioned two things: price movement for a certain period of time, right? So there are two important factors in understanding a candlestick. Let's understand the time first. If you guys open TradingView, you guys can open it, it's free. So if you guys open TradingView and go here, you'll see a bunch of times, right? Like the 5M. So 5M basically means 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or if you open this, there are multiple times, right? What's the significance of this? What this basically means is so if I open, for example, if I open the 5 minutes, it shows me this. If I open a daily chart, it shows me this. So the candlestick pattern like somewhat keeps changing, right? So what does this mean? What does this show? So as I said, the price movement for a particular period of time. So if I choose the 5 minutes, any candlestick is going to describe the price movement for that particular period of time. So 5 minutes. So this candlestick describes the price movement for 5 minutes. Hopefully that makes sense, right? And you guys would have seen multiple charts. For example, you guys would have seen the line chart, which looks somewhat like this, or you could have seen the, for example, this chart you could have seen. So there are different charts, right? What's the significance of candlesticks, or why do we use candlesticks? So if you notice any candlestick, this is how it looks, right? So let's explain the fundamentals of the candlestick first. So this is called the body of the candle, right? And these two lines are called the wicks, okay? So what that means, so this describes the high of that particular candle. This describes the low of that particular candle. That's easy to understand, right? So for example, if the market moves like this for 5 minutes, this represents the high of the candle, this represents the low of the candle. That's easy to understand, right? But if you guys notice, there are like, if you see here, there are like red candles and green candles. What does that signify? Let's try to get an understanding. So for example, let's take this candle, which is green, and let's take another candle, which is red. Okay. So like I said, this describes the, this describes the high, this describes the low, this describes the high, this describes the low for every candle. If you notice, this part describes the open of that particular candle, and this part describes the close. But over here, this part describes the open and this part describes the close. If you guys see, the open and close is in the same level, but how is that possible, right? Let's get a better understanding. So, for example, I tell you guys, hey, I don't know anything. Please, like, explain me what happens to price in 5 minutes, and I give you some chart like this, okay? Or, for example, let's say I give you a chart like this. Let's take a more practical chart, right? I give you, so I say that, okay, this is the price for 5 minutes. All right. Okay, so what you guys would do, you guys you don't need to see this at all. You can just tell me that, okay, you're saying that the market, like at that moment, the price opened here, fine. This is the opening. The price moved slightly up and made the dip, and this is the low for that particular period of time, fine. The price moved, made a low, so this is a low, and it came back to its open, right? So it came back to its open and tried to go higher. So it went higher and made a high, and then again came back and closed in this region, right? So this is the candlestick pattern for, or the price movement for that 5 minutes. So I'll explain that again. So for example, the market opened here for that 5 minutes. The market went down like this, it went up like this, went down, went up, went up. Okay. So, and this is for example, let's take another time frame right now, 15 minutes. This is the price movement for 15 minutes. So I come and ask you, hey, can you explain this to me? You tell me that, okay, this is the open, so let's mark it with numbers, right? So for example, it opened at 100, right? The price for that 15 minutes opened with 100. It created a low of 90. It created a high of let's say 110, and it closed at for example 105. Okay, so these are the numbers I give you, and I ask you to explain me, like, or draw a candlestick. So you say, okay, so it opened at 100. So this is the opening. It made a fall. So it made a fall and created a low of 90. And then it again went up. So it went up near the open, and it again, like, it went further up, created a body, but it went this high to create like the 110. It created a wick there, so this region is the wick, and it came and closed at 105. So that this is how the candlestick pattern would look. So this is the open, which opened at, for example, 100. It created a low of 90. It went further up to create a high of 110, and it came down to give a closing of 105. So this is how you read a candlestick pattern, whether it can be in whichever time frame. So this I explained for the 15-minute time frame. So I can say the same thing for the 1 day time frame, for the 1 month time frame, for any time frames. What this basically, so for example, I take the 1 day time frame and I ask you the story of the market for that day. What you tell me is, hey, the market opened at 100, it created a low of 90 for that day, the market went up, it reached a 110. Because of some reason, the market came down and closed at 105. Just this one candle explains this much. It gives you an entire picture of an entire day or any time frame you want. Even it's crazy. Even if you think of it for a 1 week time frame, you can explain the same thing. Open, close. And if you guys notice here, so for example, if I scroll to one of the candles, if you see somewhere here, it tells me O means the open, H means the high, L means low, close, right? It tells me the information for each candle. So that's how you read candles, right? So let's get more deeper into the topic. So that's for a bullish candle, right? So just a quick recap or an example you guys can tell me. So just randomly. Okay, so this is, for example, 50, 40, 30, and 52. Okay, so you guys have 10 seconds, just or you can take a paper and pen and draw how a candlestick pattern would look like. Make sure you draw whether it's a green color candlestick, which represents bullishness, or a red color candlestick, which represents bearishness. Quickly, you have 10 seconds. All right, I'll really do it really quickly. So as I said, it opens at 50. Let's try explaining the story. And this is for, let's say, a daily time frame. So if I ask you, what's the price movement for a 1 day? Please draw the candlestick. This is how it would be. So it opens here. It made a low of 40, went higher, made a high of sorry, this should be 60. Sorry. Made a high of 60 and closed at 52. This is how the candlestick would be, and it would be a green candle, right? Quickly, let's take another example. Let's say it opened here. All right, 100, created a high of 105, probably 80 and 85. All right, quickly draw the candlestick pattern for this day. So let's take a daily time frame, or let's take this as a 1 week time frame, right? Because the frames can keep changing, but the candlestick remains the same. So you can draw the candlestick pattern for this. You have like 5 seconds. Let's see. All right. So I said like it opens at 100, right? It creates a high of 105. So that's the high. It goes down, creates a body. It goes up till 80. So it creates a low of 80 and it closes at 85. So this is the open, this is the close, this is the low, and this is the high. Hopefully you guys got that right. And this color would be red. Why? Because it's in the bearish trend, right? Hopefully you guys understood candlesticks and how to read them. So let's just take a quick example, right? So this is the 5 minute time frame, or let's go to an easier example, which is the daily time frame. Let's ignore today, or let's go to, for example, let's say Tata Motors, right? Let's ignore today, right? Let's see the previous day. So if I scroll over the candle, it's saying open is, so let's just note this down. So just forget about the colors. You guys tell me what would the price movement have been, okay? And then let's go more in detail and see is that true or not. All right, so really quick. So let's take this day, right? So if I move, like scroll over this candle, it says it opened at 423.75. So, and I'm doing this like with you guys. So let's try it out. 423.75. It created a high of 427.25. So let's note that down really quick. So high is 427. Let's just keep it at 427. Created a low of 417 and closing is 419. So low is 417, and closing is 419. So this is for the daily time frame, right? So daily time frame. So I ask you guys, hey, what could be the movement of the stock for that day, right? So you tell me, okay, I give you this information and you tell me, or I give you this candle because you guys know how to read candles now, and you guys can tell me, okay, it opened here at 423.75, right? It went ahead and created a high of 427, and then it kept going down and created a low of 417 because we see a bearish candle here. So it kept going low and created a low of 417, and it closed here at 419. So this can be the approximate price action in a lesser time frame, right? So this explains it in a 1 day time frame, but this could be the price action for that day. So let's go really quick to a smaller time frame and see if that's true. Okay, so this is the day. Okay, this is the day. Like we said, it opened here. It created a high over here. It kept going down. So it created a low somewhere here and it closed here. Perfect. So just by seeing literally one candle on a higher time frame, we were able to understand the approximate movement of that stock. And this could be true for any of the time frame. So if you go to the 1 hour time frame, this candle represents the movement for 1 hour. So if we go to a smaller time frame, we can see the movement from, for example, if we start at 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, that's 1 hour, right? But we can come down to a 5 minute time frame and see the price movement or the candlestick movement for 5 minutes too. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So a quick recap. So it's the price movement of any index stock for a certain period of time, whether it's 5 minutes, 1 minute, 10 minute, and that candle describes the open, the high, the low, and the closing. The color of the candle really doesn't matter as long as you guys can tell which is the opening and the closing. All right. So hopefully that's understood right now. So this is the basics of candlestick patterns. Let's get more information on why is this useful to us? Like, okay, Sashrik, I get that. I get how to read candlesticks now, but is there any use of this? Okay, so what if for example, we all know basic maths, right? So we know 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15 minutes, right? Okay, so now, for example, for each of this, so for example, this is one of the candles, this is one of the candles, and this is one of the candles, okay? And this is a red candle, this is a green candle, this is a red candle. Okay, so this is the price movement for 5 minutes. This is the next 5 minutes. This is the next 5 minutes. Okay. So if I ask you, hey, what do you think? Do you think the buyers are strong in the first 5 minutes? So for example, let's say this is at 9 o'clock, right? Or the market opens at 9:15. Okay. So this candle closes, which becomes 9:20, right? And I asked you, hey, for the first 5 minutes of the market, what do you think? Do you think the buyers are strong in the market or the sellers are strong in the market? You ask me, okay, so what's the open, what's the close, what's the high, what's the low? and you get this description. And then you come and tell me, okay, fine, reading this first 5 minute candle, I feel that the sellers are higher. I'm like, okay, great, makes sense, right? Because the market opened somewhere here, it created a high, it created a low over here, and then it closed here. So this is the high, this is the open, this is the low, and this is the close. So the overall price for that 5 minutes is down, right? And that you can just describe with this one candlestick pattern, like we explained, right? But so this is from 9:15 to 9:20, right? So this is the first 5 minutes of the market. Let's say take the next 5 minutes, so 9:20 to 9:25. You guys see this candle. Okay, okay, now I come and ask you, hey, so you told the first 5 minutes you felt that the sellers were dominating. Now I'm seeing a green candle. Does that mean the buyers are dominating? What would you tell me? You would be like, yes, the buyers are dominating because of some reason. It might be an important level, or it could be a value zone, or it could be just that the stock is cheap and you feel like buying it right now. It could be any reason. But right now, the buyers are dominating. So that represents here again, it opened here, it created a low, went here, created a closing, right? And again, over here, the next time, which is 9:25 to 9:30, this candle forms. And again, you guys can tell that this is a bearish candle, right? Again, because of the opening, closing, and high. I ask you, okay, fine, we get it for each time of like 5 minutes, 5 minutes. What if I ask you, like, okay, for the first 15 minutes of the market, who do you think dominated? We don't need to go to the 15-minute time frame to figure that out. We can just see here. So first the sellers dominated, right? Then the buyers slightly dominated, correct? So the buyers slightly dominated, right? And then again the sellers dominated, right? So with this, I can clearly tell you that for the first 5 minutes of 15 minutes of the market, sellers are dominating. Even though there was some sort of a buy, but still selling pressure came. This is what you guys can understand with candlesticks. So I'll just so right now we talked about candlesticks, we talked about how to read candlesticks. Now let's talk about how do you like, is one candlestick different from another candlestick? Or can we represent the power of sellers or buyers through a candlestick? Okay, so I'll take a bullish example and you guys can tell me. So I'll take a bullish example and a bullish example and a bearish example later. So you guys can quickly tell me. Okay, so this is the first candle. Um, this is the second candle. This is the third candle. And maybe, sorry about that. This could be the fourth candle. So you guys can really quickly tell me, which of this do you think is the strongest? Like, do you think where the buyers are dominating really highly? So you guys can order it really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you guys can start. Just mention it in the comments below. Which candle do you think where the buyers are dominating the most? So I'll give you 5 seconds. Write it down in the comment section below. Okay. So if you guys guessed it right, yes, the first candle is where the buyers are dominating the most. All right, so I'll just write it down here. Second candle. Okay, we'll come back to this candle. What about the third candle? Again, let's try to explain the story. The market opened here. It created a low, but for some reason at this level, buyers quickly pushed the market up and created a high over here, and it closed, right? It closed literally over here. So open, high, low, and there's no wick if you guys notice here. So this is also a fairly strong candle, right? So I'll see. Let's take this case. Again, the market open, close, high, low. And all this, let's say it's for the daily time frame. Like I said, the time frame doesn't matter, right? As long as you understand how to read candlesticks. Okay, all right. So it opened here. Like if I draw it out, okay, it opened here, created a low, went back here, created a high, and came and closed here. So over here, if you really think about it, sellers dominated initially, then buyers dominated, but again, for some reason, sellers dominated, right? So overall, did anyone win really? Did the buyer or seller win? No. So it's kind of a neutral candle. So this is a neutral candle. So let's say 4. So this is less powerful than obviously this in a bullish perspective. Let's take this candle. This is a very interesting candle. So if you guys read the story for this candle, let's say, so obviously this is the open, this is the high, and this is the low. And again, let's say there's just a small wicks low, and this is the close. All right. Does it look really clustered? I can just draw the candle again. All right, so this is the open, this is the, sorry, it's the, you guys can correct me now. I think this is the open, right? Created a high, um, close, and a low, right? Or actually, sorry, it's the opposite way. I'm so sorry. So this is the candle, right? So it opened here, it created a high over here, and it closed here. And again, it could be any time frame. You guys can describe the story for me. So it opens here, creates a high. For some reason at this level, the market comes down and it closes here. So opens here and closes here. So so if I ask you, can you explain how the market behaved? You will tell me initially the buyers were dominating, but at some point the sellers started dominating and it gave me a closing over here. That's what this candlestick represents, right? So this is a quick recap. This is a very powerful candle. This is not a very powerful candle because buyers were initially dominating, but then the sellers took over. This is a neutral candle. This is also fairly a powerful candle because initially the sellers were dominating, but then buyers picked up here, pushed the market very high, and then closed somewhere here, right? So this is how we can draw it, right? So I'll just draw this really quick if you guys like still couldn't understand it. So I'm saying that it opens here, creates a low here, right? Goes and creates a high and creates a and closes here. So if I draw the candle, it basically looks like this, right? So in this case, what do you think? Is the sellers dominating or the buyers dominating? No one, right? Because sellers were initially dominating, then buyers dominated, then again sellers dominated. So, but there is a slightly bullish perspective, because the open and close are, the close is still higher, right? So that's for bullish. Let's take an example for bearish. All right. So this is one of the candles. Again, a quick um and all right. So let's explain it for this candle first. So again, the market opened here, right? It created a small high. Market fell very badly, created a low, and came back here. So this is how the candle looks, right? So here, who's dominating the most? Short sellers are dominating the most, or people who want to push the market down are dominating the most, right? In this case, who do you think are dominating? Still, people who want to push the market down are dominating more. What about this case? In this case, you really can't tell who's dominating because the buyers and the sellers are almost equally playing a role in the market. So you can't say who's dominating. What about this case? Oh, this is a very interesting case. So what if I draw something like this? You guys tell me, like, put it in the comments down again. You guys tell me who's dominating in this. If you guys got it right, good job. It's the buyers. But you'll be like, hey, Sashrik, it's a red candle. Why do you still say that the buyers are dominating? I already told you the candle color doesn't matter. Let's quickly draw this story. So I'm saying that it opened here. So it opens here. Um, the market fell really badly. So the sellers were initially dominating, but at some point, the buyers picked up, pushed the market over the initial high, which is the opening, created a new high, and closed above the opening. So at initially, obviously, the sellers were dominating, but if you go throughout the day, at the last point, buyers started dominating, right? So that explains this candle. All right. So I taught you what's a candlestick pattern, right? I taught you how to read candlesticks. I taught you how to combine multiple time frames to look at one time frame, right? Like I explained 5 minutes, and explained like how to see it in 15 minutes. So multi time frame. I taught you how to see who's dominating the market just with candlesticks for that particular time frame. So dominating. So that's all you need to know about candlesticks. So you guys can now pick up any stock or any index or literally any financial instrument and look at the movement and describe the movement. So let's just take quick live examples. So here, it's Friday the 27th. Market opened here, and this is the 1 hour time frame, right? So you guys quickly tell me, who do you think is dominating over here? The sellers, right? Why? Even though it's a green candle, why? It opened here, made a high for some reason at here. The sellers were like, okay, the price is too high. I want to sell my stock. Came down and created and closed here. So I'd say for the initial 1 hour of the market, sellers dominated. So if I go to like a lower time frame and check if I'm right, let's see if I'm right. So initially the market went high, but again, the sellers started dominating, right? And now, as you can see, the market's coming even lower. That's it, right? So over here, you guys can see multiple time frames. So I can give you a quick tip on what time frame to use when and what kind of candlestick to read, right? So if you guys are intraday traders, yeah, if you guys are intraday traders, right, you look at the daily candle just to see the picture of the previous day, whether what sort of candle is it? Is it a bearish candle? Is it a bullish candle? Who was dominating? You go to the 1 hour time frame to draw levels on the chart. What are levels? I'm going to make an upcoming video on support and resistance. Remember, I said that for some reason that people think that this price is too high and they push down the market. How do we notice this price is what the next video is going to be about. So stay tuned for that. So you go to the 1 hour time frame and draw levels. The 15-minute and the 5 minutes time frame is used for trading, right? The 15-minute is more accurate, and obviously the higher the time frame you go, the more picture of the market you get. Why is that true? Because you can't get the overall picture in a 5-minute time frame, right? But if you go to a daily time frame, you can actually see what happened in the market. So that's for intraday. Let's say swing trading. The daily and the weekly time frame is all you need, right? So you analyze it in the weekly time frame and draw your levels and trade in the daily time frame. Or you can even enter in the 1 hour time frame. So this is for these two is for entry in the intraday, and 1 hour time frame is the entry for swing. Let's say investing, right? The daily time frame, the weekly time frame, and the 1 month time frame. All these time frames are important for long-term stocks, right? So you can enter in the daily time frame and you can do your analysis in the weekly or the monthly time frame. And you guys right now know how to read candlestick pattern, whether it's for a month or for a year, or it doesn't matter. You guys know how to read price movement for a certain period of time. All right, guys. I think I covered most of it. If you guys still have questions regarding this topic, please let me know and I can make a separate video on it, or I can just answer it in the comment section below. If you guys thought that a particular topic was tough, I can make another video on it. But make sure you practice this. I can just stop sharing. Make sure you practice this and try to get a hang of the price movement, and try it with different time frames. Try it back and forth. First, maybe see the candle and draw the price, and then for some stock, maybe see the price and draw the candle. Practice it. Now you guys know what's a bullish candle, what's a bearish candle. You can predict the next movement of the market with just this candle. So for example, if you see like a bullish candle, you guys have like a mentality that buyers are more, right? So probably the next day, buyers could still be dominating, provided of like there are important levels which will come in the next video. But you guys have an idea of the market right now and how to read prices in the market. I hope this video was useful to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm pretty sure it's a long video, so if you guys stood till the last, thank you so much. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please like, share, and comment on the video.